Welcome to this special broadcast on a day when there is not a rejig, not an expansion, but a shake-up of the Modi Sarkar 2.0, almost at the middle of their second term, after 18 months of a global pandemic that has battered the lives of Indians and their livelihoods. An economy which needs to reboot desperately, comes a shake-up in how the Modi government is going to look like. So here are some of the details which are coming in. What you're seeing live on your screen is the beginning of the oath-taking ceremony that will start in just a bit from now. 43 people will be taking oath. 43 new ministers are being added to the Council of Ministers of the Modi government. This includes professionals, doctors, women, a representation of various states, leaders from across the country. Importantly, also 12 ministers are on their way out. A list of 12 has come in of ministers who have tendered their resignations to Rashtrapati Bhavan, and this includes some prominent names that were not all expected. One of them, Thawarchand Gehlot, has of course now been moved to the position of governor, but the health minister Harshvardhan put in his resignation, has been removed from the Council of Ministers. So as has been the Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal, who has resigned ostensibly due to health reasons. You also have prominent names like Ravi Shankar Prasad, the Minister for Communications and Information Technology and Law, who has resigned, as well as Prakash Javadekar, the Information and Broadcast Minister as well. So these are big names in the Modi government, the names that have been, I would say, front-facing to the media and to the people. Ravi Shankar Prasad has been in a huge spat very publicly with OTT platforms as well as social media giants like Twitter among them, but all of them are on their way out. Santosh Gangwar also in the list which is out. He was the Labour Minister. Question is now who is in? Who is in this list and who gets what? So let me just take you through some of the interesting names that we have been seeing. One of them, of course, is Jyotiraditya Scindia, and he is today getting a front and row sort of treatment over here. Very prominent.
माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदय, आपकी आज्ञा हो तो समारोह प्रारंभ किया जाए। जी। कैबिनेट मंत्री श्री नारायण तातू राणे।
मैं नारायण तातू राणे ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूँ कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा। मैं संघ के मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा तथा मैं भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार न्याय करूंगा।
मैं
मैं नारायण तातुराणी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूँ कि जो विषय संघ के मंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा अथवा मुझे ज्ञात होगा उसे किसी व्यक्ति को या व्यक्तियों को तब के सिवाय जबकि जैसे मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्य का सम्यक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संशोधित या प्रकट नहीं करूँगा।
श्री सर्बानंद सोनोवाल।
I, Sarvananda Sonowal, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duties as a minister for the Union, and that I will do right to all manner of people in accordance with the Constitution and the law, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. I, Sarvananda Sonowal, do swear in the name of God that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person or persons any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall become known to me as a minister for the Union, except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as such minister. As may be required for the due discharge of my duties as such minister.
डॉक्टर वीरेंद्र कुमार।
मैं डॉक्टर वीरेंद्र कुमार ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा। मैं संघ के मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा तथा मैं भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या देश के बिना सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार न्याय करूंगा। मैं डॉक्टर वीरेंद्र कुमार ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जो विषय संघ के मंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा अथवा मुझे ज्ञात होगा उसे किसी व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों को तब के सिवाय, जबकि ऐसे मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों के सम्यक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
श्री ज्योतिरादित्य एम सिंधिया।
मैं ज्योतिरादित्य माधवराव सिंधिया ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा। मैं संघ के मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वाह करूंगा तथा मैं भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार न्याय करूंगा। मैं ज्योतिरादित्य माधवराव सिंधिया ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जो विषय संघ के मंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा अथवा मुझे ज्ञात होगा, उसे किसी व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों को तब के सिवाय, जबकि ऐसे मंत्री के रूप में मैं अपने कर्तव्यों के सम्यक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष या अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
All right, the list has just begun. The first 4 names on Prime Minister Modi's new team have taken oath, and that ceremony continues. Very interesting mix of people, and we need to analyze this a bit more. How there has been a major expansion over here, keeping in mind political compulsions like bringing in allies, the LJP, the Apna Dal, as well as the JDU have been accommodated. How the effort has also been made to have a younger, more professional crop of people coming in. Madhavan Narayanan and Tejas Mehta joining us on the special broadcast today. Good evening to both of you. Madhavan, what do you make of the initial sort of names when you go through it? Clearly, this is more than just a little bit of a reshuffle or a rejig. This is a rehaul.
I was reminded, Tamanna, of this management book by Marshall Goldsmith, which is titled, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. I think Modi is taking that as a slogan for ministry making, that all the political rhetoric, individual charisma, as well as some of the old Hindutva logic has been at least given cold storage for the moment, and the focus is on new faces, new ideas, and new energy to drive governance forward with an emphasis, of course, on the politics of caste, because it is very clear that it's not a BJP cabinet, it's an NDA cabinet. It's not just a performance-oriented cabinet. It has the 3 elements of performance, loyalty, as well as what you would call, the representation of various communities and castes. But what is very clear is that loyalty alone is not going to get you there. Because some of the ministers who've been dropped have been very loud in their loyalty, but it hasn't helped them. So it is clearly a point that loyalty is a liability if it doesn't lead to performance. Secondly, it's very clear that the government thinks that all the bad, image damage caused by everything, include especially the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic, are necessitating a new lease of life for the BJP government, and they are already aware that this is their second term, and therefore this is a classy mid-term cabinet reshuffle. I would have expected it 4 or 5 months later, but it has come not a day too soon if you look at what has been happening in the past few months in both in governance and in Modi's image. So, and no more party orientation. Madhav Rao Scindia was, until not so long ago, a very strong anti-BJP leader, although he belongs to the Scindia family with its genetic roots aligned to the Hindutva ideology. But Narayan
You
Rane...
mean Madhavan,
Yeah.
Jyotiraditya, not Madhav. You
Oh,
mean
I'm sorry, I'm
Jyotiraditya
sorry.
Scindia?
Aditya,
Yeah,
sorry.
no, absolutely. They've
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And also Narayan Rane is very significant
Yes.
because he's
we-
accused of corruption. So it means that it's Modi is no longer playing with very clean hands because he wants what works. Yeah. So,
No, so
of
a
course,
lot of leaders from Maharashtra. I was just going through the list. Narayan Rane, of course, Bharti Pawar, Bhagwat Karad, Kapil Patil, among those coming in from Maharashtra. So quite a bit of stress there. A lot of leaders from Karnataka as well. Tejas, welcome to the show. Were you surprised with the list of leaders who have resigned, the list of ministers who have resigned, which had the names of Ravi Shankar Prasad and Prakash Javadekar on them?
Well, certainly the leaders who have quit the cabinet, I'm more surprised by that than the people who have joined the new Modi cabinet in a sense, because these are much bigger names than the ones joining in, especially two names, Dr. Harshvardhan and Ravi Shankar Prasad. Now, both of them, there were three ministries which were clearly related to the big happenings of the past 1 year, that is COVID-19. And that is, of course, Dr. Harshvardhan's health ministry, directly connected with the handling of COVID-19. Then you had labor ministry, again, got to do with migrants and how they were moving. And both these ministers, if we see, they have really moved out. The other big area which received a lot of media attention was certainly Ravi Shankar Prasad ministry, IT, and him taking on Twitter and social media bigwigs. I think it became more of a personal battle. Somewhere his own personality got involved there, and it almost became as if not the government, but it was he who was taking on Twitter and Facebook. So I think. I'm not too sure as to why exactly have they been dropped, but I cannot see any other reason apart from their performances. Because yes, what I have heard murmurs are that Mr. Modi and Amit Shah, the top leaders of the BJP, have really taken this exercise far more seriously than we have seen in the past, and each minister's work was taken into account. What has been done? Have they taken any fresh initiatives? And with that really lacking, I think the decision has been made to let go of these senior leaders. So of course, Prakash Javadekar, another senior BJP leader who was heading the Environment Ministry, also has been let go. Sadanand Gowda, another senior BJP leader. So I think from these four, I would say the top two would be Harshvardhan, Dr. Harshvardhan and Ravi Shankar Prasad, which certainly have been major surprises for me at least.
Yeah, so right now let's just dip into the audio. We're seeing Pashupati Kumar Paras of the Lok Shakti Janata Party taking oath right now. This is a very interesting choice. After the demise of Ramvilas Paswan, LJP had to be accommodated, but clearly the brother has been chosen over the son, Chirag Paswan, because there's been a split in that faction. Also, the ministers who are getting a promotion, and Kiran Rijiju among them, who you're also seeing on the screen. Let's just listen in to the oath-taking ceremony for a bit.
सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार न्याय करूंगा। मैं किरण रिजिजू ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जो विषय संघ के मंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा अथवा मुझे ज्ञात होगा, उसे किसी व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों को तब के सिवाय जबकि ऐसे मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों के सम्यक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
श्री राजकुमार सिंह।
मैं राजकुमार सिंह ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा। मैं संघ के मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा तथा मैं भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार न्याय करूंगा। मैं राजकुमार सिंह ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जो विषय संघ के मंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा।
So this is the list of ministers who are essentially getting a promotion. Kiran Rijiju, R.K. Singh, Hardeep Singh Puri is going to be in this list. Mansukh Mandavia, G. Kishan Reddy, Anurag Singh Thakur, prominently among them. Let me go to Madhavan for his take on this. So this is clearly a report card as well. You are seeing the outcome of performances and an evaluation today. So you've had senior ministers who have been shown the exit effectively, and you've had quote unquote junior ministers who are now getting a leg up and will probably get more responsibilities going ahead depending on what portfolios they eventually get. What do you think from this list seems to be the parameter of performance?
See, three parameters, Tamanna. First is there is an element of youth, young blood. So, Anurag Thakur is a classic example. Kiran Rijiju, also a young person. I don't know much about Mansukh Mandavia. But the second thing that comes to mind is that these are leaders who have walked the fine wedge between loyalty to the leader and party and a certain amount of performance. Okay? Which basically means that they have not been too loud or shrill, nor have they been lazy. So they have sort of walked the middle path, which Modi seems to like. And the third important factor, which is an X factor on which you and I may not know, is that I've been hearing, and I know for sure, given the style of functioning of this government, the Prime Minister's office has its own intelligence into ministers based on various details. And it's not just the report card in the conventional sense of performance appraisal, but also their conduct, their details, and their connections. And I do hear that even RSS is somewhat involved in giving feedback to the government, which I would not rule out. So all this must have gone into this. So, but most important of all is Modi sending out the message that he is the boss and that loyalty alone will not work. This is my take on that.
What do you...
Hello.
Yeah. What do you make of this list, Tejas, especially the fact that very, very senior people who've been very prominent have actually been shown the door as well, and the kind of people who are coming in. I mean, Rajiv Chandrasekhar could really bring a new perspective from that kind of a background, a corporate background, to the government. There are others as well who seem to have the ability to bring, unique perspective. Do you think they will be given an opportunity to perform?
Well, I mean, the argument has always been that the Modi government, Mr. Modi himself, the Prime Minister, and the Home Minister Amit Shah are the number one, number two government, and everything revolves around them, and they are the ones who take decisions. Well, I really don't, while that may be true up to an extent, but ultimately the nitty-gritties, the decisions, the pace of decisions, all of that takes place at the ministerial level, and it's impossible actually for any prime minister to run every ministry. There are many ministries now. Many have been added, including the Ministry of Cooperation. So many new ministers, 77. We were earlier 58 ministers. Now we have gone up to 77. It's impossible for Mr. Narendra Modi to really look into every department per se. Of course, he's somebody who likes to take the lead. He's somebody where the CMO's office or the Prime Minister's office, since he has moved from Gujarat, plays central role. But ultimately, decisions, the pace of decisions, the pace of reforms, all of that have to take place at the level of the ministry, and therefore the buck stops with the minister somewhere. And when these assessments take place, Madhavan is right. There will be, a lot of internal intelligence coming to the BJP as to how each, minister has been behaving, performing. All of that will be taking place. So this is almost like a corporate world where, the assessments take place, and at the end of the day, performers and non-performers, that's where the difference really is brought into. And I hope really with the new, new crop of ministers sworn in just now as we speak, we have a lot of youth and a lot of professionals who are coming in. If I can just, mention some 14 ministers under the age of 50. So that is, I think I'm most excited about that, because I think India is a country which is much, much younger, and we need that sense of energy, especially after COVID-19. It will require a lot of energy to bring this country back together, especially economically. So it needs, a lot of pace, a lot of energy and vigor at the levels of ministries. We also have professionals, 13 lawyers, 6 doctors, 5 engineers. So, my fingers are crossed. This is one aspect of the entire rehaul of Mr. Modi's cabinet, which is exciting me. Of course, there is politics, but I'm looking post-COVID because I do believe that post-COVID, that's the 19 which is really prompted this huge overall, because generally we will see it's largely stuck to politics and trying to please allies, but I think he has gone much beyond that. This is not just about allies and caste equations.
Sure. Let's get in a perspective. Sure. Let's get in a perspective from Smita Prakash. She's on the phone line with us. Neerja Chaudhary also joining us as we go through the oath-taking process. Smita, what do you make of the exits in key ministries like health and education? Health prominently so because it's coming in the middle of a global pandemic. Is it also a recognition of a need to relook at these two key sectors? I don't think Smita can hear me.
Yeah, I was quite surprised to see the resignation, frankly, because a huge number of people, 12, I think, people gone. And that means 1 in 5 have left. Are you getting my audio?
Yes, I am.
I think what happened was that with so many people gone, one can't really call this a reshuffle or an expansion. It's a total overhaul of the ministry. I think somewhere in the past year, of course, body blow of COVID, but somewhere in the past year, I think the Prime Minister has felt that, the government policies and programs have not gone down to the poorest of the poor, the social upliftment program. He's complained a lot about sluggish bureaucracy. His team has not been able to deliver. And there's been a lot of criticism, if one wants to say, of him micromanaging all the ministries. And that was not feasible. So he really needs deliverables. Now, he needs a team which can deliver. But at the same time, it's not as if he's got people who've been just ministers before, and that's why he's brought in experience. He's also brought in young people who I think he will expect them to come with out-of-the-box ideas, and also regional expectations, which has been said by the people that you spoke to earlier, that he's found representation in his ministry for people from the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. 12 SC ministers and 8 SC ministers. And 27 OBC ministers. That's a lot. So, I think from the government has moved from this minimum government, maximum governance, which they started off with, realizing that it's not possible to govern a country of 1.3 billion people with a minimum government, because government has all the resources. Government is the one which delivers. So, you've got to have people who do it. So I think that is why that slogan will be put aside. And I think Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas comes right up there. to make sure that government programs reach everybody. And, 2022 will be an acid test for this team. But beyond that, I think they've put a goal for 2024. And they have now 2 years to deliver. This team will have to deliver in the next 2 years. Because after that, when the last year, you're just going into an election mode. And people have already made up their minds whether this government has delivered or not. So you're talking about going into an election in 2024 after 2 terms in office. So unless it's a hyper-delivering team, they are not going to be able to come back to power in 2024. So if that is the idea, then they have to start from the word go. And the last year, which is the last year that has gone by, has been literally a 0 year. They have not been able to deliver on any of their programs and policies. Globally, it's been that. But more so for the Modi team, which was itching to deliver, because 2019 you saw so many things, whether it was Kashmir, CAA, or even the NRC was put on hold. Everything has been put on hold because of COVID coming in 2020. So I think what this government wants with the new team is to deliver fast and deliver with, without any roadblocks on the way.
Neerja Chaudhary, we spoke last evening about whether this would be also a chance for a sort of course correction on the back of what India has experienced in the last 18 months. There is a need right now for the government to lead from the front foot, whether it's in investments, whether it's rejuvenating the economy, and especially to give health, education and other such social sectors, social ministries the attention they need. Do you think that that's the objective you would look for when we know which minister gets what?
But of course, we'll be very keen to know. Harshvardhan has resigned, rightly so, be made accountable, but who's going to replace him? That whole team is gone. Who's going to replace Prakash Javadekar? Information. Who's going to replace Ravi Shankar Prasad? Communication, all very vital. Labor, education. So, what the message that's coming to me today as the reshuffle is going on is this is now Modi team. When 2014 he took over, it was the end of Vajpayee Advani era. Somewhere 2019, the transition was taking place slowly. He was getting in his people. Today, I think it marks the end of what used to be called the Generation XC, at that time. Sushma Swaraj, Arun Jaitley gone, Anand Kumar gone, Pramod Mahajan gone. Now Ravi Shankar Prasad, Prakash Javadekar, people who were, were the old timers, the old politics. Narendra Modi wants a new kind of politics. It's interesting that both INB and communication and IT ministers are gone. So obviously he wants a new kind of information policy, new way of handling the media, probably dissatisfaction with the way the foreign media was handled, Twitter was handled, and so on. So what I'm saying is it's a complete Modi team now in the making. A new BJP is here, and he in the middle of his term wants new energy, new messaging to go. He's been on the back foot, as we know, on COVID, on setback of the economy. Economy, we don't see. It'd be interesting to see who takes commerce and industry and so on, whether there's a reshuffling of portfolios. But certainly, I think whatever Mr. Modi does, he believes in doing what the word he uses is bhavya hona chahiye. It has to be grand and big. And this reshuffle is very much part of that. Now, how these people will deliver, and the critical question is not only who gets what. He's brought in people who's had, like this Ashwini Vaishnav, what and train. So obviously qualified people have also come in. But, so far, it has been a PMO-driven ministry.
A lot of focus on
one of the problems.
Yeah. You are saying, Pankaj Chaudhary, You're seeing Pankaj Chaudhary taking oath right now on your screens, a prominent UP leader. In fact, a lot of focus on Uttar Pradesh also visible in this expansion, with several leaders being accommodated there. So it's a mix of all of those factors that we've been talking about. Political considerations, keeping alliances happy and satisfied, changing the old guard and bringing in young and fresh faces, and giving equal consideration to professionals, women's, etc. We will continue to take a deep dive into this ahead on ET Now as well. But for now, we'll take a very short break and return with a lot more information and news. Stay tuned.